it's just fun. It's light. It's inconsequential. It's a good shooting game. It doesn't again have the doesn't hasn't had the sticking power that many games have in that scene. But is it worth a look again? Yeah, that is. Come on. Manic Pixie Dream Worker. Lost the sprites on screen. Most definitely. Quickly and smoothly. Yeah. And they think they drew the backgrounds before they realised they need to put the sprites on top. The graphics are very much like something like Midnight Resistance. So I think the choice there is sometimes Spectrum developers made the choice of, am I going to, there is going to be color crash. There's going to be an attribute overlay problem. Am I going to give priority to the sprites, or am I going to give priority to the background? If you look at something like Cabal, then it is, it's kind of prioritizing the background, because it knows that the main sprites are just monochrome. Yeah, so you see your character is just black and clear, and as are the enemy soldiers as well. So if you were to strip the color away from here and just have this as a mono game, yeah, you do have, when you're in front of an object, you can kind of see through it. When you're behind an object, you're completely behind it. But you notice that in terms of the colors, the colors aren't changing. Apart from when you swap an object, and the reason for that, I think, is that it meant that once you loaded in the level, you didn't have to change the values of the colors in that bit of the memory, which is 790 odd bytes, because it's using 8 bits for each 8x8 square. So that was just like, you could just ignore that bit of the memory. You just needed to worry about where the graphics were running on your screen, and most of the time it's in the bottom 2/3 of the screen. So you've effectively, although you're playing a full screen game with full screen graphics, the team behind this are actually only updating about half of the video memory per frame, compared to, rather than update absolutely everything. Now remember, Spectrum CPU didn't have a separate graphics controller to handle all this stuff. Things like the Commodore 64 did, but that's why they were more expensive. So the CPU has to handle all the gaming action as well as all the graphical action. So if you can half the amount of load that you need to put through in the graphics, you've got more time left for the CPU to handle the gameplay, sprite movement in memory, and to keep it all running nice and smooth. So yeah, this is an effective lesson in ignore half the screen, but still get a color game that's seen as taking up absolutely the full screen. Lots of lovely little programming hacks. Once you get later on in the life of the Spectrum, you will find a lot more of that. It's also worth noting that this is a tape loader as well in the 48K Spectrum, and it wouldn't surprise me if they actually tape load in the attributes of the screen, so they don't even need to store them in memory. They'll just, at the tape, they'll load it in as the background and just page that in.